Hello, it is Spud here, and welcome to episode 6 of the Roundup. And what a week of Call of Duty we just had. In today's episode, we're obviously going to be talking about the Green Wall, OpTic Texas winning Major 3. And as an OpTic fan myself, I am over the moon because after Saturday's matches, I didn't think that was going to happen. It will be a bit of a longer episode because I want to do a bit more of analysis, a few more clips than normal. Obviously, most of it is from Sunday because of how good Sunday's matches were. Also briefly mention challenges. And after I've obviously analysed all the matches, gone through all the stats, I'll also say who my MVP of the series was, of the event was, and which teams I think overperformed and underperformed. Thank you again for the support as always. The support is really appreciated on these. I love making them. Obviously there's no COD this week, so there won't be any predictions until next week's episode. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is briefly challenges. I'll be honest, I did not watch much of challenges this event. Power from me, obviously, I don't know, but I saw a series with Team War, which has like Bants and Afro on. But FC Black did take the win. They actually all got like a custom belt, which I thought was pretty cool. So that's Rex, Asim, who obviously has been dropped twice in the CDL this season, Exceed, Brack, and obviously Coach Mayhem. Obviously, Mayhem is probably the best coach in challenges, so I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up yet by a CDL team. But yeah, well done to FC Black on their victory. Like I said, I didn't watch. I actually don't even know who they beat. But I thought I'd just give them a shout out. Now we move straight into Thursday's matches. And the first match was the LA Thieves versus the New York Subliners, which obviously, if you remember, I predicted the Thieves to win. They didn't. It was 3-1 to the Subliners. A really good map 1, which I'm going to show the ending of. And then a pretty comfortable, I would say, pretty comfortable rest of the series for the Subliners. Obviously, Ghosty, the only positive player on the Thieves. Hydra, 100 kills. And again, the main reason that New York won this series was because of him. I thought Sib played quite well in this whole event as well, not just this series, but they've control. They were dominant, and in that second hard point as well. But I'm just going to pull up the ending of map number 1, which was a really good comeback from the Thieves.
Cruise in. What can it find? You've got Nasty working deep. Nobody really able to pounce quite yet. It's able to get 2, though. Outside of the point, and Crimp gets 1 at the same time, and Thieves come flooding through. Now 20 needed for the victory as this streak hits. Yeah, they just stayed patient inside a lobby. They knew the players had to run inside. They didn't run into them. But Hydra's able to find the first, allowing New York to go quickly towards the hill. The ARs for Thieves are holding the line. That is going to be another 4 dead. Skies off spawn. Ghosty, 5 in a row, up to 37. He is dropping a bomb on the main stage. Ghosty is locked. We'll see if he can get another cruise. Probably not going to need it. The kills are coming through. And Thieves come in and shock map 1.
I mean, the fact that Ghosty dropped, 38 kills on Rio as an AR is absolutely insane. He is, obviously, it's between him and Gwyn for the best player outside of the top 4, probably, this season. And that's why Ghosty's up there, because it was a superb map from him. Especially as Joe DeSaves almost went double negative. But yeah, the Subliners managed to fight back after that. They regained and got the W. Moving on, we had FaZe versus Miami, and Miami finally won a map on LAN. They lost 3-1 to FaZe, but they finally won a map. They won the 6-star search. And in all the series, as you'll see of Miami, this event, they seem to get that 6-star in, and now I expect that to be vetoed a lot now. But yeah, you can see really FaZe dominated. I mean, 72 points in the Rio from Miami's not ideal. The first map was relatively close, and then obviously Miami won the search, but then after that it was just absolute domination. I mean, sorry, not Vickle. Well, Vickle actually did almost drop a double negative, but Lucky did as well. Yeah, not really what Miami won, but they could finally say they won a map. I think for them that's almost a dub. Then we had Toronto versus Surge. Obviously, this being at Toronto. I just want to also say now that the whole event from the outside, because obviously I wasn't there. I do want to go to a COD event, but I'm still not sure if they ever did one back in the UK, I would definitely go, or in Europe. And this was won by the Ultra 3-1. Obviously the home crowd advantage, but that wasn't going to make a difference. Abuser played really well. In this series, I think everyone played pretty well for Ultra, but obviously Scrap was the best. As always, I would say with that Ultra team. I just want to show you the Ultra entrance, because they didn't use the normal players entrance, because obviously they were a home team. They had a special entrance to do this every year, so I thought I'd just show you. I could only actually get it off Scump's watch party though.
Look at that. Fucking Scrappy. Just fucking push that squirrel. I was like, the fuck out of my way, you.
Look at Jalen, bro.
Where is he?
He's just second. He's second in line.
Oh, second line?
Has he got the mullet?
No, yo, he's got that peso pluma going on.
Has he got a mullet going on?
Yeah, yo, he's wearing that peso pluma.
I don't know what Hex was doing there, but yeah, that was pretty cool. And they did get the win to go to the next round of the winners bracket against Surge, who put up a decent fight, but it was always going to be difficult. And then the last series of the day was OpTic versus Carolina. And it was a relatively... It wasn't like as one-sided as you would have imagined. Obviously, Carolinas tend to be a bit better on LAN, you know, especially Felor. But OpTic won both hardpoints at the exact same score, which is quite a coincidence. Obviously, Subbase is their best map. But Carolina are also quite good at Subbase, hence why it probably wasn't vetoed by them. I thought this series that Pred was really good. Obviously I mentioned Felor. I thought everyone kind of played pretty well in this series, like all 8 players. I don't think anyone was like horrendous, but obviously OpTic did take the dub. Now moving on to Friday. First we had Miami versus Las Vegas Legion, and Miami actually won a series on LAN, and Vegas's wars continue. First of all, Gio was so close to getting the damage record. I think he had I mean, if you look at the stats, I think everyone here played pretty well, but I think the best players were probably Real and Gio and Nero. But my only thing with Nero is he got 40 kills in one of those maps, in that map 3, and Gio got 35, which is obviously really good from those two. But then they didn't do as, like... no, actually, what am I talking about? They were brilliant. But they couldn't get the job done. Real, MVP, for the series. I think that's deserved. Really good player. He was obviously my rookie of the year before the season started, but before the visa issues and that. I reckon by the end of the season, if Miami make champs, I reckon they'll be top 5. But it's hard because he's only had 1 split, and there's only 4 splits in champs. The first map was a good comeback from the Legion. Miami threw that. And then it was a good search again. Miami got to play 6-star. Pretty close, I would say. It was close-ish on the control, but Gio and Nero were frying. Another close hard point. Lucky had a good map. And then the search was pretty dominant, to be honest, from Miami, who do move on to get at least a top 8 finish. That's the wrong... there's so many matches, isn't there, on a major? Because this is the first time I've done a proper episode after a major, because I only started this just after major, after the first week of major 3 qualifiers. So then we had Breach versus Thieves, and again Breach get you to a map 5 and they lose. Ghosty, absolute machine. Ben Beans, I actually think is a machine, and I hope he stays in the league next year. A really close hard point. Again on Rio. Thieves beat them in the S&D, which is expected. And then Boston are a good control team. Priester, 34-19. After, by the way, Priester was, I think, 0-11 or 0-10 at the start of this map 1, and he almost went positive. A pretty close sub-base, I would say, and then just dominant in the search. I have actually got the ending of this map 1 on Rio with Thieves and Boston. Let's just take a look at this.
To allow Boston to move through the old time and around the back, but this is taking a lot of time. Cramp is still here to try to hold off on this rotation. Joe Deceives rotating in as well, and the Thieves have a full idea in terms of Boston wanting to hit through mid, but with nades coming from the front, this is just down to can Boston find the kills they need to turn the attention. Pentagram on the way in gets the first good supply of help from the side beans. That's all 4 dead.
Oh, and LADs, they're still going to have the back spawn, so you have another opportunity to break in, but if you don't make this one count, you're not going to spawn all the way across the map. Boston Breaches need 1 more hold.
Snoopy trying to step up, but the stuns keep him from finding any sort of regen, but the team kill means that this is going to be a 3v3. Boston finding the opening set of kills. Ghosty over the top. Can he continue to decimate this Boston team as he's been able to do all season? Pistol bite. Here comes the Priest to push. Now back into the hard point. Joe Deceives cannot find the 1v1, and Boston secure map 1.
iPhone 15 Pro Max. Lots of storage for lots of photos.
And ultimately, that was a really good comeback and hold there on P2 from the Breach. The team kill from Ghosty on Joe Deceives obviously didn't help the situation, but I thought that I thought that it was good hold from the Breach, but I knew going into map 2 that they'd lose it. And then I thought if they win map 3, they have to win map 4, otherwise Thieves win the series. But Thieves almost got top 12, and a lot of people had them to finish in the top 4 or top 6, and they almost went home there in 12th. Then we have Seattle versus Minnesota, which I had Seattle to win this before it started. And obviously you can tell that they did 3-1. It was a close hard point, and then it was pretty close in the search and destroy. A dominant high-rise control from Seattle, and I'd say comfortable. I'd say 75 points is comfortable for a hard point. Standy got the kill record, though, in that search and destroy. That's the only reason they won, probably. I mean, Hugh went 1-10. Not ideal. And Brezzy went 3-9. But Standy went 17-4. Which is just, it's crazy, to be honest, that. But the issue again, I mean, Abuza was brilliant, by the way. That's the first time I've said that either. Abuza was really good. Now that he's finally playing on an AR, which is what he was playing on Challengers last year, when he was probably the best player in Challengers. Minnesota, though, their roster change has not worked. If I was Minnesota Rocker, I would be getting rid of Gunless or Accuracy, and I know people are going to say get rid of Accuracy, but either one of them has to go and they have to replace him with someone else, because otherwise this team is not making champs, in my opinion. Obviously, next week's episode, which is when we'll do our predictions for the new split and that, we're going to be talking a bit about the champs, the scoreboard and the champs, the table, the road for champs, etc. That'll all be mentioned in next week's episode. But yeah, 0-4 as well. This is his obviously first event, putting up a good showing there. And then we had Carolina versus LAG, and obviously, you know, as I got a soft spot for Ravens because of Clayster, seeing him drop a 1.46 was absolutely superb to watch. And it was a really dominant series, bar the high-rise control, which they really struggled in. They dominated them, I think. I mean, 6-0 in Search and Destroy, that's just 2 players getting a 7 KD. And even though Felony only got a 0.75, his 2-piece in one of the rounds was magnificent. But 35 and 19 from Clay on map 1. You know, Gwyn had a bit of a stinker, but it didn't matter because his team were frying. Where normally it's the other way around. I mean, look at this, like, Fame a 0.4 in a Vista's not ideal. And I had Ravens to get top 4 in this run, in this event. Obviously, we know they didn't get that in the end, but yeah, it was a really good series from them. And LAG, again, they might not make champs because they were known for being a good team on LAN and they got absolutely slammed. So, we'll have to see. Now, this was the series that I was surprised by because I did not have the Heretics winning against the Thieves. It was a really close map 1. And then obviously we've got a clip from the map 2, but if people who watch this map live will know the map 2, the final round, what happened, but I will re-show that to the people that don't know or forgotten. And then obviously Thieves took the control in pretty dominant fashion, but then got slammed on sub-base. I mean, Kremp got 5 kills and 19 deaths, a 0.26 in a respawn, like that is not good. And that ultimately cost them the game, because if he probably got another 10 kills, let's say, they probably would have had a lot more chance on the hill. It could have been a different game. Well done to and the fact that he got a 0.92 overall shows that map really ruined his statistics. Yeah, I mean, Lucky got the MVP award for this series. I think everyone played well, bar Vickle on this team, this series, and I think everyone except that Kremp map 4, which cost them the game probably. Everyone played pretty well on the Thieves as well. But obviously Lucky got the MVP, and this round 11 is probably one of the reasons as to why, because ultimately this put them 2 up, and it was huge. And again, it was 6-star. That's the 3rd series, and they got to play it again.
This is an attacking round to give yourself a fighting chance here in the series. Real, ruthless aggression. Another on stairs, can't get it. It's Kremp with 2. It's now down to Lucky. And will he be that in this 1v2 situation? Here they come. Finds the first. Oh my God! Lucky! Dios mío, how has he done that? I can't believe what we've just seen. A replay will be needed. That's 2-0 in the series, and that is one hell of a 2-piece.
And we have just witnessed the birth of a brand new call-out. No longer Palm Tree from the LA.
And obviously you could see the reaction of the Thieves players. They were just shocked. And it's funny because I think it was like 1 or 2 rounds before that, Lucky was in a similar place and got the kill on Nasty, which was unexpected. And I can't remember if they won that round, but that was a really good 2-piece from Lucky. And yeah, they managed to get a top 6 guaranteed, which nobody really had going into the major. You know, a lot of people had them to get top 12. Would they actually win a map was the question, but they ended up winning 2 series. And then we move on to Saturday. No. Yeah, no, this is Saturday, yeah. So first was Seattle versus Carolina. I had Carolina winning. I'm disappointed in them. I really am. Again, a boozer. Brilliant series again from him. I thought everyone played well on the Ravens. You know, the first map was dominant from the Ravens in terms of the slaying ability. Rio Search and Destroy is normally a bread and butter for the Ravens, but they got slammed. I was shocked. The control was close, but it was really important for them to win that, because I thought the Ravens would win map 4, to be honest, but I thought then that'd be a 3-1. I felt like if it went to this 6-star Search, I thought Seattle Surge would win it, but it didn't even have to go that far because Abusa drops 31. And it was a dominant win for the Surge in the end on that final map. Disappointing to see the Ravens get top 8, because I think that the points would be huge for their champs' hopes. They're currently, I think, 9th or 8th with 120, and I think there's 20 points separating 5th and 11th. That's how close it is. So every win on LAN is so important, and obviously that would have been an extra 10 CDL points. Next we have got FaZe versus New York, which going into it, we kind of expected it to be we expected FaZe to win, but did we expect it to be like this? Probably not. You know, Simp and Draza were really good. Sib and Hydra were decent. Kismet, though, not a great series from him. Vista is such a good map for FaZe. I think it's like an auto veto at this point for every team. If they're against FaZe, you do not want to play them at hardpoint on that map. They will just win. And the Search was pretty close, to be fair, but Simp had a huge kill. A huge kill? What am I even saying? He had a really good map, is what I was trying to say. And then again, this was pretty close, but Kismet had a really rough series. And I think it was someone on the flank mentioned that maybe he's just not that good at this game compared to MW2, because he was like so good on MW2, but on MW3 he's just not the same player. Moving on, we've got Toronto Ultra versus OpTic Texas, and we've got a few clips of this one. I won't lie. So, first map was the sub-base. Both teams were unbeaten on this map, and OpTic took it. Shotzi, everyone played well, to be honest, on the OpTic side. I think Envoy was the only player that let Toronto down. Now the Search and Destroy, 6-2, but obviously there was a big round, which I'm going to show that first. But we'll go through the rest of the series first before I show the clips. The Invasion, Kenny really struggled, almost double negative, and this was a huge factor as to why they lost, but it was again just a mistake. I think it might have been the round when it was 2-1 to OpTic and it went to 2-2, when it should have been a 3-1 to OpTic in that map. I'll have to double check that. And then it was a pretty close 6-star, but again, Kenny really struggled. And then you had people on Twitter after the series saying, "Oh, Kenny needs to be dropped. We need scrap." And it's like, Kenny's been a really important piece for OpTic this season, so it's quite harsh. I get why people are annoyed. I thought OpTic had to get to winners final. But yeah, Toronto took the dub, and Scrap again was just an absolute beast. So we're going to show you the Search and Destroy round that I'm on about. It was actually the first round. So obviously Toronto had planted. No, they actually hadn't planted yet. Sorry, you can see that whoever has the bomb is just past the bus. I'll just show the clip.
First check going to be there. Envoy able to get the kill. Okay. Time is a dwindling insight. With another nice shot from Dashy, though, through in the cross, at least able to drop one. We just talked about the ice. Does he have another one here? Him and Pred, 2 versus 3.
I don't know if he heard Scrap or what, but some bad timing. He is going to find him.
with the pistol, so we're into a 2-on-2. Plenty of time for Pred and Dashy to work with.
This will be a 2-on-4 if they are able to do it, but you said plenty of time, but second by second, that is dwindling. So many things to check. Pred in, Pred out, able to stay up for now. Daddy gonna be popped, getting back to full HP. 15 now on the clock. Dashy gets another. It's a 3 in the round for him. It's just Kleenex scrambling, trying to get around, drops in between. Dashy with all 4 and the defuse. Talk about the ice.
Did he get it? It was very close. I don't. Oh, I thought he had it. I thought he had it.
Are people born
So,
wicked?
obviously he didn't get it, but if you watch back, if you look at number 7 on the minimap, which was Pred, with 11 seconds to go, he runs away. So because he ran away, they didn't have time to get to the bomb in time, so that was Pred's fault, but it was a huge fall from Dashy, but it literally meant nothing. And I also want to show the ending of the control. I need to find the control. I need to just double check which round it was. So it should be 2-1 to OpTic. Right, yeah, it is this, I think. So it was actually, I'll just double check. Forgot I muted it, sorry.
They can. Great teamwork out of Shotzi and Pred. 30 seconds. It would only take one push, maybe only one player to get done with this point. Get us to around 5. Envoy's been shooting well, but he's going to lose that first bullet and the gunfight to Dashy.
I was worried that might be your only chance. If you are Ultra, you had so little time. But you have maybe your last opportunity here. 10 seconds to go.
Watch number 1. Watch
Desperation, trying to make a play. It'll be Scrap. Making a play through gas. Kleenex, 1 in front. 5 straight for Pred. A double for Kleenex. Scrap now here. The 2-on-1 shell. Onto the point we go with 1.9 seconds. They just needed a tick, and it's done.
And obviously that was a big throw from OpTic. I do think when Kenny dies, on B Street, I do think that that had a huge impact on that round, and ultimately they lost the map because of it. And then I'll just get the end of hard point. Obviously you can see OpTic were winning, but Insight just came up huge at the end.
The FP1 control. Now Shotzi with the double. He's able to slide on in. So you have to slow this down if you are Ultra. Do not forget you have that cruise. 15 more seconds is Insight. The rival, the MCW, they're doing it all.
They're getting the big kills. They're in position to close it out. 10 more now needed. It just seems a matter of time. The hometown boys are holding and rolling, trying to shut it down, but you do enough, you fight enough to get him out for now and battle back through on the point. You're still alive in this if you're OpTic Tactics and you survive long enough. I don't know if you can, because Inside dials up a triple and it's over. There has been nobody.
And obviously that was huge from Jamie Insight there with the 4-piece to win it. And yeah, honestly, it could have went either way, apart from the search, which again, that could have, honestly, like, OpTic just had no momentum probably after that defuse incident. But yeah, well done to Toronto for taking the dub there, which they go to winners final to play FaZe. We also had 2 more matches for this day. We had New York versus Seattle, which was the Battle of Lil Man, which is obviously O4 and Sib's Twitter drama, and Sib won, as you can see. The first map, though, was really good from Seattle. Again, Kismet really struggled. I think he was the worst player on this series, this whole major for New York. But I wouldn't think about dropping him. Personally, I just don't think there's anyone out there that would make them better, to be honest. A boozer, again, I'm saying it all the time, a boozer. And then Seattle, who were a good search team, did lose, but I mean, look at Hydra, 15-4. Crazy. And then a pretty confident showing in the control again. Abu's are the only player that went positive. And then New York slammed them in the Karachi, Sib, and Skies. I mean, everyone played good, but Sib and Skies, obviously, with good KDs there. Obviously, Skies nearly had 2 minutes in the hill as well. And yeah, New York took the dub there and thoroughly deserved. Then the last series on the Saturday was OpTic versus Miami. Kind of obviously expected OpTic to win this, but again, 6-star was allowed to be played, and they won it again. So they played 6-star all 4 series in this major, and they won all 4 times. Surely you will now veto 6-star against Miami. And it was actually a really good series, to be fair. I mean, Real played really well, and I thought Lucky did alright for the Heretics. Pred had a really good showing here on the final game of Saturday to make sure they got top 4 at least. 36 and 17 on the sub base, 30 and 27 on the 6-star. The high rise control was dominant from OpTic. Everyone positive. 2 players had a double positive. I think that high rise was done in about 6 minutes. I don't know if it actually says that here on the website, but no, it doesn't. But yeah, like the search though is really good from Miami on that map. It's obviously a map that they've practiced a lot for going into that event. Now, Champs Sunday, in my opinion, this is the best Champs Sunday of the CDL era. Sorry. We'll start with OpTic New York, which honestly at some point this should have actually been a 3-0 to New York. I think they should have won the Vista. We'll just get the stats out. Dashi MVP. I think that's fair. Obviously Hydra, really good again. Again, Kismet struggling. I think everyone played pretty well on the OpTic side. Obviously map 1 was a good scrap, as you can see here by the breakdown of the points. It started pretty dominant for OpTic, and then it started to get close, and then it looked like New York were going to take it, and then OpTic took it. But the reason that it was a bit of a throw here from New York was because of the cruise missiles. So if I show you here now the rest of the match.
Wasn't going to react, but he'll be able to pop up and get the kill. Now one of the cruisers going to come in. Hydra, looking for info, looking for blood, able to take out Shotzi. Now what can you do? Behind that, if you are NYSL, to be OpTic, in the point to get us started is Pred. We'll get the first.
Yeah, I think the problem with that cruise is that you had nobody pushed up middle of the map, so it's going to come into then the one player off spawn. You're just into your setup here for OpTic, so they're going to have to use another one. This is what OpTic would want, to use these right away. This time, though, Kismet's P1. You have Sib worked in the pitch, pretend he's still alive in the back. He's going to find this kill, and now OpTic all P5 control. Both cruises gone. Everybody's hitting.
Dashi 1 HP in a dream, but he wins it as they try to rally, maybe get the lead change here, trailing by 10 and bringing it back 20. Again, left in the hard point. Dashi 4 in a row. Kenny 4 in a row. Big time players making big time plays. Up the point man. It is Pred that's able to get down 1. Kenny out of 5 as he looks to get a cruise. They can maybe answer everything you've seen coming out of NYSL.
That's why I think NYSL just used too many over towards that P5. Now OpTic 20 points away. Big 10, 31, 8 in a row to find number 9. Putting shots in, but the nade does connect.
Yeah, that's a hell of an arm there from Skies as he'll slow down that stretch, and now you get in
cruise
when you absolutely have to if you're NYSL. Will Kenny use the cruise? The answer a quick yes. Here we go. From the sky, what can he find? Onto the point? No, it'll be down my P2. It'll be Kenny that's able to get the kill onto Sip now. What do you do behind it? You send it in, a team kill in. Dashi may be able to follow with a second, but the help is there for Pred and Kenny. The final kills, they're in and fighting. Enough time remaining. The ticks are through. The win is in. OpTic Texas strike first.
Obviously OpTic wearing their championship whites as well. Good comeback there, but again, New York through with those 2 cruise missiles on P5. The next thing I want to show, there's another part of this series I want to show, which must be map 5. Yeah, it's map 5. So it is I'm not too sure what round it is. So I'm gonna have to double check this. I think it was round 5, but I could be wrong. And it's the Dashy defuse. I'm just gonna try and find it. Oh no, it was this round.
On Pred. Great shots by Dashy to back him down.
Maybe a one-on-one on the other side too, but yeah, it's on Pred to find the opener. He's able to do that. Kill onto Pred, all onto Sky. Still looking for his first.
Oh yeah, spotted.
15 seconds to go. And what do they do behind this spot? Pred and Dashy, an awkward moment. The search and destroy yesterday. This time, can they ice up? Hops on it, gets dropped. Not gonna happen once again.
I think he might have it. I thought it was 7.2. It is so close. He's got it. He got it. This time, Pred and Dashy.
The fist blade. Get more look at this scoop here from Dashy. Kill.
Did he get it though? It's an interesting one. For me, it looks like it was around 7.3, but the game gave him it literally on 0.00. But that would have made it 4-3 instead of 5-2, so it could have been a completely different series, completely different map 5. But OpTic haven't really been great at search and destroy for most of the split, but that was a big search and destroy win for them. Now, FaZe versus Ultra, and FaZe haven't lost since they lost to LAG in the last qualifier in Major 2, which I still can't believe that happened. But Toronto Ultra take the dub in huge fashion. I mean, Scrap was the only player positive for them. Everyone bar Simp was positive for FaZe. They outslayed them, but Ultra take the dub. Map 1, again, Vista, bread and butter for FaZe. I don't know why they were allowed to play it, but FaZe won that. And then 6-star, Toronto did take the dub. Envoy had a good series here. And then FaZe smashed them in the invasion, but this is what we need to talk about. Insight 3-17. Almost the same, recreating Zuma's 4-23. 3-17 is horrendous, and he got all first 3 of them kills in the first round. And then this map 4 was, I mean, Envoy went double negative pretty much, but Scrap just pulled out a masterclass for his team. And then this map 5, oh my god. This is the best series of the CDL so far this season, I think. I think a lot of people would probably agree. It was just nuts, and obviously FaZe are known for shooting bodies all the time because they're the best team in the game. And yeah, sometimes it can go wrong. So we're going to watch the rest of the map 4 first, and then I'm going to show some of the search.
And towards Fallon, trying to open up an angle for his team to apply pressure at this hill. He takes care of Sip onto the point. Scrap from up top is able to find a double. It's now all left up to Celium to simply stay alive in this moment. Even though Ultra in that hill, such a close game again.
Have to receive another hit and rotate if you're Ultra. FaZe currently hold the favor on the spawns. Looking to re-wrap around the back. Scrap shutting down a lot of this. Back to 4 in a row. Hit markers over towards bottom side shops. And you've got a player in Kleenex coming from the backside on the pitch. One more contested. It's a BZ. Should be overwhelmed, and he is. 5 in a row for Scrap. Rotation going to be challenged for both teams.
Oh, but I'm pretty sure Kleenex is able to slip behind enemy lines. So are you going to be able to spot him off the cross? And I think Draza is able to gain that info. But Scrap, if you can find one kill, that cruise missile could play a big part at this moment in the game. He's trying to line up the kill onto Celium. Only 8 HP left. The Renetti is out. Everyone is losing gunfights around the map. And Atlanta FaZe stabilize and win the rotation anew.
Couple of players on this backside spawn could maybe help Ultra set up some sort of a break, but Atlanta have numbers, at least for now, inside the hard point. Draza trying to play his life. Assistance from FaZe coming from the junk side. Can they get nades over towards this jump wall? May not be able to. Insight seems to have an idea that Draza's playing in the back closet, but they can't find him. Draza's still alive, able to go 1
for one.
Oh my God.
The trade is in. Ultra can win here.
They can win it here. Look at the spawns for Atlanta FaZe. They're so far away. Ultra trying to force game 5.
Envoy from the front. He's able to take down one. Not able to do more. Can anyone touch the time? No. And we're going the distance in the grudge match. Let's go 5.
Absolutely superb from... How did I know there was going to be an advert? Absolutely superb from Toronto there. And then this is where we want to start getting there. So Rio Search, obviously FaZe. I don't think FaZe had lost on Rio Search before this map. I just want to bring up round 9.
Sully have great shots to at least back down inside from his positioning. But now in the 3v4, Ultra have to find some ice.
First blood's unbelievable from Abizi on that angle, especially. Draza stepping in towards bridge side. Kleenex still hoping he can get this plant off. That may be the lifeline for Ultra here in round number 9. Scrap also an extra step forward. Would FaZe expect something like this? Little cheeky plays for Ultra, but FaZe are taking the safe route around the back, and Scrap has only seen one member so far.
He gains info onto one player, but now you have to get a read that Atlanta FaZe are sending 3 players on the pinch. Unfortunately, Inside is not able to get out. Kleenex is only able to find one. Now it's Scrap in a 1v2. Draza, I was waiting for the...
Obviously, if you're not aware, Draza and Scrap have major beef, and so do their partners as well. And that continued after the finals, with Draza's girl wasn't involved this time. But yeah, obviously putting a full load of an MCW mag into his body, going 5-0 up.
Moment. He getting the last lap.
No bomb this time.
Nades are so good for Ultra. And Kleenex just
And then
says, give me that thing.
Ultra win map. Ultra win round 10. It was 3v1, but they actually defused it.
It just simply does not get better than this.
And then game 5, round 11. One of the best series. I think it's the best series so far this season. But here comes round 11 now.
Eyes of the crowd, both vocally and in person standing. Or is everyone here in Toronto? Offense, round 11 for Ultra. And you have to think there's no way we're going to give Abizi a chance towards A again.
We can't. So Insight's just going to hold down this angle. Watch the overextension. Ultra slow and steady around this B site. But you can see Abizi and Draza just ready to pounce at any given moment.
A little bit of a prod forward here from Toronto, but they see there is resistance nearby. The thing that's different here, Scrap has not seen anything topside bridge. And now all of a sudden he's playing forward. It just comes down to, does he get any timing to make good on this position? May not matter. Here comes the plant.
Plant's going to go down. This is the opportunity where Atlanta had to take advantage, and Abizi with the angle onto Envoy finds that first kill.
Immediately picked back up.
By the way, the lag is just Codcast there.
Timing here could allow Toronto a chance to kill a little bit of extra time. It's all 4 members from FaZe around the back. Insight's not going to see it. Kleenex going to get caught off guard, or is he? He gets
That was a huge kill from Kleenex, and I don't know how Insight gets away with his life.
From Scrap, 2v3, selling the cross, dealt with by Scrap. Sip also seen on the cross, 22 seconds. Draza trying to work this with Sal. Scrap able to turn this down to a 2v1. Just down to Sip. Not gonna happen. Shut your mouth. Toronto in the grand finals here at home.
Ultra. You can always count these guys to be icy in these kind of moments. Scrap, the MVP of this series for me. Just put on an absolute...
Main character vibes there. And then obviously his interview. Funny that's been cut off. But he was just swearing and all that. He'll probably get fined. But what a series. What a series. You'll be able to find his interview. Somewhere. It's probably on Twitter. Unbelievable series. Obviously, like I said, this was a long episode. We've still got 2 matches left. Then we've got FaZe versus OpTic, and OpTic finally beat FaZe this season. It's the first time they were 0-6 before this. It's a 3-2 win with Draza breaking the kill record, but the damage record, but Shotzi, superstar Shotzi by the way, the kill record this season, out of this world performance from him. And OpTic went 2-0 up. Even though Draza got 36 kills on the 6-star, Shotzi got 39, which is mental. In the high rise, FaZe have always been a good high rise team. OpTic are probably one of the worst high rise teams in the league. And in the online qualifier this season, this split, they actually did a double high rise and lost both times to FaZe. But this time they take the search, but lose the control. And then when I saw Vista, I'm thinking, right, it's going to a map 5, and yeah, as expected, FaZe won that. But OpTic with another Invasion round 5 win to take them to the grand finals. And probably the biggest clutch of the season, I would say, by Dashi, and probably, as Nature actually said, I heard about this, said it's probably one of the biggest moments in OpTic's history. I'm just gonna... Obviously, it's a huge win for OpTic. I'm just gonna show you the end of map 1 to start with.
Behind the step, he's able to get another one as he gets onto a BZ, trying to get taxed into Draze as well. The help is there on through. It's swimming, but finally he will fall. 17 needed for OpTic. Texas, another P1 up to bat.
Yeah, but you have the crews out, and now you already have rotation 1 by OpTic. Kenny 3 in the row. Able to lock down this P1, but here comes FaZe. Draza, all 4, and he's got 35, and now everyone down for OpTic.
Draza on 35 and 4 in a row. The guy is zapping. Shotzi only able to take down 1. To DJ, we go. Trophy, maybe getting it out of there, but for now, Dashy just trying to spot. Able to locate 1, but nearly falling. Stays up at 58 HP. The rally now from Atlanta FaZe, but only 1 person here. Is the rest are going to drop? Looking for the clearance inside. They're able to deal with Shell. And Shotzi will get the multi-kill. Dashy following it up. And OpTic just looking for these 10 seconds. 20 remaining in the hard point. 10 to go for the W. Shotzi rocking, rolling on 38 and map 1. It's a W.
Huge performance there from Shotzi. And then obviously it's 2-1, and then we go to the control.
Human, right? Not saying they're not playing well, but those
as he tries to continue to move and groove. 15 seconds here to go. Shotzi looking to get lost and maybe make plays. Can he do just that? Trust your teammates to make the play as he tries to get the kills for the teammates. Players coming off the spawn, but they read it. They know what Shotzi's trying to do. They lock it down, they lock it in, but you've got...
And then that 2-piece from a BZ obviously wins in that map, and then they win the Vista. And we go to map 5. And obviously, going into this map 5, you'd think FaZe are a good S&D team, so and OpTic have struggled a bit, but this is what wins them the series and gets them to the grand final. The clutches that Dashi had in this major were absolutely mental, but this one is the best, I think, because of the opponents that they're against. They're against FaZe, they're against Celium and Simp and Draza. The fact that he does this, I think, is the play of the year so far.
Can finish 1. Dashy, the sneaker's not quite fast enough to catch another. So to a 3v2 advantage we go for Atlanta FaZe. Simp, he's been this side and he's been lurking, can't get caught. He at least...
So there's Dashy's first.
For a moment.
Dashy, I think he spotted him. Selling him, this is just sort of the area he likes to play. Of course, Dashy would love to chow. 12 seconds, though. He's got to get to a bomb.
And they know that. Only time to get to 1 position. So has to take the fight.
Are
Comes
you
soaring
serious?
on through.
He got it.
He goes to planet. He gets it through. Are you kidding me? And he gets away. He gets away. He's a magician. 1 versus 1. Draza, Dashy. The timing's going to make me throw up. 35 seconds. He spots him. Backs down. He bombs. Dashy. My fucking God.
I didn't even realise that the, I think it was Maven on the casting desk. He actually dropped an F-bomb.
Unbelievable lightning reflexes. The shots on Draza, then snaps onto Cell. He knows where the first child's coming from. Unbelievable. Brother. With the snap, knows the time as well. Draza doesn't reach out. Then down to 77, catches.
Absolutely crazy.
Damage, trying to finesse. He wins one. Now on to Sip. Able to drop one. 20 seconds to go. Just so little time. The shot's through. Gets in damage. Stun will hit. He won't fall. Send him packing. Send him home. It's an OpTic Texas win.
They finally beat FaZe, and look at what it meant for him to get to grand finals. And with the momentum, after beating like Ultra and beating New York before that in a map 5 and beating FaZe for the first time, they had the feeling that they could do it. Outrageous series. And then we moved to the grand final, and I'm thinking, please, can OpTic win? Because the last 3 grand finals that they've been in, they lost. And they didn't just win, they absolutely demolished the Toronto Ultra. 4-0. I can't believe it. Scrap was the only one I think that played well for them. Shotzi, again, outrageous. 1.37. And it was only a 4-map series, so let's just go through. Obviously, the sub-base, OpTic's bread and butter. Ultra had only ever lost to OpTic on it. They allowed OpTic to play on it, and OpTic slammed them. Shotzi 31 and 19. This is what I mean. He just absolutely destroyed everyone on this championship Sunday. Map 2, a really solid invasion search. Again, they've just won 2 game 5s on it. They even win the control against Ultra this time. Dashy has a good series there, a good map. He actually got a 10 streak. Obviously, Shotzi got 30 kills as well. And then this was just outrageous. This hit Rio. Insight of 0.44. Whereas Shotzi got 1.68. The comms as well. It was just everything on this series was just going OpTic's way, and they deserved the win. They deserved to win this whole event based off how they played on the Sunday against New York, FaZe, and Toronto. This was just crazy. Sorry, it's muted.
Gets one that trades for Ultra Flown, but Fred on the It's gonna be game. Wow, big wins there. Kleenex, they double up and they bring it down. An open hardpoint once again. This has been fantastic area denial from Toronto, but not enough to get inside there. A wide open hardpoint.
Look at how they're winning these gunfights. They're shooting so straight.
They're gonna have to rotate over towards New, but even then you want to flood to the old time, and you just have OpTic winning every single gunfight through and through. Fred shooting more players in the back as the hill pops, and he can play for the errant kills. Just be the safety net. Try to get a guarantee. Ultra making the reads, but it is not enough. OpTic, the best team on sub-base, still.
Outrageous.
That is map 1. HP.
New Zealand honey and caramelized salted almonds.
2 adverts, brilliant. Obviously, if you're still here by now, thank you very much. Obviously, it's all chaptered, so Thursday, if you just want to skip to the Sunday part, I don't blame you. Because Sunday was outrageous.
30 seconds left in the round. Yeah, no one here from Ultra is going to be able to maneuver in a position. They have to hope for a triple stacking. Finds 2. True, but you're back 10 seconds though. There's still an opportunity to get in here if you're OpTic Texas. They find 2 kills. Shotzi is in. Kleenex wins his. He gets himself a cruise as well, and now the clock ticking. Stay alive for a moment. Kenny wins it. They're in. 1.2 on the clock. Insight has got to go big. Can he win the fight? No.
And that round wins them the control, because they should have comfortably won that, but Toronto brought it back. And then it was a 1v1 because there was only 1 life left for Ultra, but because of where the rest of OpTic were, if Dashi got killed, Toronto win the round, and then they probably would win the map. Well, it would go to a round 5, and then we'd have to see. But really good there from OpTic to take that control, and then obviously the Rio. I want to try and get the comms.
Contest a little bit. Time on you, no trophy. You guys are gonna play. That's one. You guys hot dog or some shit. On time scrap, absolute scrap on time. Play. He's in a play corner. Play corner. I can't see play corner. Nice up, man. Take it. Let me show him. Gate inside. I'm running a gate. I got time, baby. Go. He's gate. He went off. Too short. I got one down there. Half inside. It's one. Caution on me. Right there. Same spot. Nice. One more. I'm playing the mode. Pick a middle. I have a left. I'm playing mid aggressive. Get time, Bruce. I have a pusher. I have a limit. Get time, Bruce. First guy, clean X going right, but we're envoy. You heard? Yeah. Alright, first guy, he's going right. He's about. I got it, AJ. You're good. AJ, just pitch right. Turn right. Go right. I can pitch the back. Yeah, go ahead. I'm pitching him. Let me bounce. Let me go to the back. I'm behind him all. I'm looking at it. Yeah, back there. Inside the back. Inside. Understand. Last guy. He went Eskies. I'm pitching I'm behind them. I'm trying to make I'm going Eskies. I'm fucking A's right now. I'm back. One shot. One shot. Mid on board. Both one. I have Eskies in a second. Eskies clear. I'm Eskies. Alright, go there. I'm in there with you. Nice job. I'm pitching. No. I'm right. I got him. I'm pitching the lobby. I'll can kill him. Stay alive. I'm staying alive. Right. Last guy. Keep flooding.
Just outrageous. They almost 100 club then.
10 seconds, and they are your champions. Dashi brought down. It's another last-ditch attempt here from Ultra. Have they finally found their footing here in this finals? We'll find out as Pred battling forward. Ultra survive again.
It's not gonna matter. OpTic are gonna do this. They're gonna get it done. The onslaught is coming. Insight can feel the pressure. He's gonna fall one by one. Ultra, your final stand.
Here we go. The last march of Toronto here on Rio. Dashi cuts them down. It's 5 for the win. And on this Sunday, what a Sunday it was. A wave of elation across the Matamei Athletic Center. OpTic Texas have done it. And in front of a sold-out home crowd, they have turned that sea of green. What a unbelievable hard point from OpTic Texas.
And that is the moment that ends the drought. Such a long time since OpTic has won in the CDL, but a performance like that, absolutely flawless.
It was a tough nut to crack. Your champions, OpTic Texas.
And thoroughly deserved for OpTic. A brilliant series out of them, and obviously Bruce being from Canada, and then he recreated the Kobe Bryant picture. There's Pred with the trophy as well. Thoroughly deserved. Yeah, really deserved for OpTic in this event. And MVP, it was between Shotzi and Dashi for me, but I'm going to give it to Shotzi just for how good he was against Toronto and FaZe. So yeah, Shotzi MVP, shows why he's a superstar, why he plays for OpTic as well. And then quickly, before we do the outro, who overperformed and underperformed? I think Heretics and Surge overperformed, or played really well, let's say. I think Abuza was the best player outside of the top 4 teams this event as well. I thought he was really good. I think Thieves and Rocker were the teams that underperformed. You could maybe say Carolina as well, but I think Carolina still at least showed a really good high. Yeah, no, you could maybe argue all three. But that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you for everyone that's watched. I know it was a long one. OpTic are your major 3 champs. What a feeling if you're an OpTic fan. And what an event Toronto put out. Best champs Sunday in the CDL era. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.